So that was the same season that you freed the Dawn Wall, right?
Yes, that was the first couple of days in the valley, and then my father left, and I started climbing on the Dawn Wall.
I know. I just think that's so classic because you guys basically had the quintessential Yosemite experience. Because I mean, literally everybody who climbs in Yosemite has had that experience where they climb the route, but they get way overextended. They're really tired. It's dark. They can't
Yeah.
find the descent, and then they have an epic on the way down. And it's like it's just heartening that even the best climber in the world has the exact same experience at Yosemite. This is Climbing Gold. Yeah, I was going to ask actually, could you tell the story of climbing the nose with your dad? Because when I think of you adventuring in Yosemite, I think of you and your dad on the nose. It's kind of amazing. What happened?
So for my dad, it was always a dream to go to Yosemite, but during the 80s in the communism regime, it was basically impossible for him to get there. So, and then in the 90s, he already had the family and kind of shifted from more like from more like alpine climbing, and he was mostly just sport climbing around the home. So then when I finally made it for the first time in the valley, I went with my dad for the first couple of days. So it was obviously pretty logical that we go for the most obvious objective, which was the nose. So we did it in 24 hours. He was mostly just following after me, but it was a big day out, and then we summited. I couldn't free climb the changing corners and the great roof, but I did the rest of the pitches. But then we were on the midnight on the summit. It started raining, and we couldn't find our way down to find the east ledges. And we thought we were at the right spot, but we were told that there were fixed ropes. There were none. Like my dad in like torrential rainfall, like 2 o'clock in the morning, he rapped down like 60 meters. He couldn't find any more anchor, so he would go up, and we just shivered our asses until the sun appeared, and we would kind of orient ourselves.
And
I
and
mean,
that was
I was really surprised how really difficult it is to find the way down the east ledges. I think if this was in Europe, considering like how much traffic there is to go down from El Cap, I would think there would be like signs and cairns everywhere, and
it,
you know,
it's funny. It's funny you
not
say that though,
easy.
because
Yeah.
if you came back now, there are much bigger cairns. I think Search and Rescue
Okay.
finally was just sick of having to rescue people up there and just put in these giant cairns. And now there's a little bit more of a designated path, and there's some bigger cairns, and
Okay.
but it does change every year though, because with the snow, a lot of that stuff gets wiped out. But anyway, and so that was the same season that you freed the Dawn Wall, right?
Yes, that was the first couple of days in the valley, and then my father left, and I started climbing on the Dawn Wall.
I know. I just think that's so classic because you guys basically had the quintessential Yosemite experience. Because I mean, literally everybody who climbs in Yosemite has had that experience where they climb the route, but they get way overextended. They're really tired. It's dark. They can't
Yeah.
find the descent, and then they have an epic on the way down. And it's like it's just heartening that even the best climber in the world has the exact same experience at Yosemite. It's so funny.
I mean, it was probably the most alpine experience I've ever got so far, and it was kind of funny, hearing all the stories of my parents, like getting very similar things, like when they were young, while we were
Mhm.
driving to the crag. And finally, wow, we are experiencing it together with my dad, and he looked so chill. And like, I was so cold. I definitely have never been so cold in my entire life.
That's dude, that's all the Eastern European stereotypes right there. Just like open bivving in the rain, just not even complaining about the cold. Your dad's just like, "Oh, this is like a normal day.
Yeah,
Just love this."
yeah,
And you're like, "Help me." Yeah. I suppose it's experiences like that that keep sport climbing feeling fun. I feel the same way with alpine climbing, that if I do one expedition a year to sort of a remote alpine area, then it
yeah,
makes sort of normal rock climbing feel fun and adventurous for the rest of the year. And I feel like for you
yeah.
doing one big wall experience, one thing like that kind of keeps training and keeps sport climbing feeling fun.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of alpine climbing, I think one day I would like to experience it a bit more. But yeah, one expedition a year will definitely be more than enough. But I feel like I definitely still kind of gain much more experience in big walling and tread climbing.